Hello, my name is Julio, and welcome back to the IVF Daddies podcast. Today, I'm with a very, very special guest that have helped me navigate a lot of things here while I'm in Ibiza building businesses. And her name is Louisa. How are you?
Hi, Julio. How are you?
I am great. This is really funny because we were just giggling about the fact that we have a group of friends, and in our group of friends, there's like three or four people that you have introduced me
Yes,
that have the same name.
it's crazy. Like, I've never met so many people now here that are all either it's Luisana, Luis, Luisa. It's crazy. But yeah, so my name is Luisa. Thank you so much for having me on your today's podcast.
No, thank you for being a part of it because I thought first I love your discipline, I love your
Thank you.
sweet commitment, and I love the way you approach life. I feel like in this island, a lot of things are people are if you or in the world, like if you're busy, there's a lot going on, and social media take you away from real life. And I think you're one of the people that make things happen. And if you say you're gonna do something, you do it, and that is very valuable. If you say you're gonna show up, you show up, and that is to me is 80% of the job. So I
Thank you.
appreciate that you're here.
Thank you. I appreciate you saying that. I actually, yeah, it's true. Like, I started a new business recently. I'm a certified life coach, and it was amazing to actually coach you, and also to show that to my supervisors how I coach you, but also to see your own growth. And I really believe that in everything, now actually coaching more clients, that the power is already within us. Sometimes we just need an extra, it could be an extra push, it could be just an extra, it could be even a friend or family members just reminding you how amazing we are actually are. And this is something that I guess along the way we sometimes forget, especially when we're super stressed or especially when we're having a lot going on. So it was very nice to being able to coach you and to witness growth in a quite short time, actually.
Yeah, and that's the question that I wanted to get. You just touched on a point that is what I had on my mind. The power is within us. We all know that's something that I wanted to touch base with you because we all know that discipline gets results. We all know that drinking water, but what is it that the power within us don't look? What is blocking us from ourselves?
I think that a lot of I feel that if you have, and at the end everyone has their own traumas, and it's how we are looking at our traumas. So if we look at it and we see, okay, this is actually an learning experience, rather like, okay, this is a limitation, I'm stuck, this is something that I'm ruined, this is something that I will have for the rest of my life. Or you switch it and you say, okay, this was a very learning experience, and how am I going to move forward, and how can I be able to be better than yesterday. So instead of seeing it as a limitation, like this is me and I'm stuck and I'm always going to be like this, how can I try to be better tomorrow? So with discipline as well, it's like, if I think about how I did it yesterday, what can I can already do one little step further, a little bit better than I did yesterday. It's creating this discipline. Discipline also comes from a habit. We're creating habits, and this is also as if you start with a small habit and you make it consistent and you grow from that, and you literally start with something small that you're okay, I want to switch this, and you start already by doing something better than yesterday. This is at the end where you create this discipline and where we're moving forward. And also where you feel like the power is already within you, because it's something that you maybe were lacking. But at the end, we had that already within us. But it's just a matter of realization as well.
Yeah, I think when we talked and we had the conversation, it didn't even feel like a coaching session. It felt more like somebody's guiding me to align. I say sometimes the road gets difficult and then you just divert to other smaller tasks to not feel like you're gonna fail on the big task. So you do the little things on the side to procrastinate. And I feel like that relates a lot to if I put it to in comparison to IVF and surrogacy or having a baby or trying to create a family, we're never ready to have kids in our minds. We want to have until we get this, until we get that, until
Yes, the
like,
perfect ideal situation always in our head. Yeah.
yeah. So how was your experience to get to the point to have your beautiful baby boy, Senna?
So I come from, I was diagnosed with PCOS when I was 18 years old.
What is
And PCOS is a polycystic ovary syndrome. So it means that and you have different type of PCOS. And it mainly, in my case, had an effect on my blood sugars. So I was very sensitive to insulin. And it got me to, when I was diagnosed when I was 18, it got me to actually take control of my own health. Instead of going for what the route was with doctors telling me, okay, I have to take hormones, I actually went for a natural way. And I tried to kind of like reverse it with the right diet, with the right, I really believe in its diet, its movement, its sleep, and its rest. These kind of like the things that I really focused on during my experience.
And how did you get to what were the points that made you even consider to check?
Yes. Oh, I had a lot of irregular periods. I had very bad skin. I've noticed it that I had some weight struggles, weight gain struggles that I was like, I thought I was eating quite healthy, but still I was always fluctuating a lot. So I went to the doctor and immediately they saw that I had PCOS, but instead of like not really working on the problem. It was just to cure the symptoms, right? So yeah, okay. So you're now dealing with this hormonal acne. Well, we're gonna get you on hormones. But I was like, well, I want to have eventually. So I was 18 back then. But I want to eventually have kids natural, or at least have them, because with PCOS, a lot of times when we Google it, most of the first things we see, it's like, oh, you're not able to get pregnant natural. So it was for me quite shocking. And I was already at that age thinking, no, I don't want to be dependent on medicine and things. I want to see if I can, in a way, be able to do it the natural way and see if I can reverse it or at least reduce the symptoms. And that made me realize that I can do a lot with food.
You just said that you went to the doctor and then the doctor wanted to focus on what most people want. They want the easy route. They want that pill that will cure something or to do the surgery that will remove.
Yes,
And he didn't offer you to take care of the main problem, but he offered you to assume that you will want to have a better skin, that you want to have a like
exactly.
take the pill for the skin, take the pill for the reason. I started to learn about endometriosis. Is that related to endometriosis?
No, no, this is really based on actually your ovaries and most of the time with a different type of PCOS, but most of the time it's an insulin sensitivity. There were very women with PCOS, and actually 1 in 5 women nowadays have PCOS.
Wow.
So it's yeah, and it of course has comes with acne, it comes with hair loss, it comes with especially having more weight on the midsection of your body. So it comes with a lot of hormonal imbalances.
If you have to give an advice to somebody that has daughters or somebody that is young or having her period, or what is a key factor for you to say, wait a second, I need to go check this?
If you have, I think it starts with irregular periods. As a woman, if you experience that, also if you experience hair loss, or if you experience more acne on your hormonal part, so it's like more on the cheeks. If you feel that you are fatigued a lot, if you feel that you are that type of carbs, sugar in general makes you very bloated. Bloatiness is also a common thing that women face with PCOS as well. So it has different type of things that you can see already, like, okay, maybe I'm sensitive to insulin. And most women have this issue, unfortunately.
And especially nowadays, everything has sugar in it, right?
Yes,
So
yes.
inflammation is really strong in everybody's diet.
Inflammation is very common thing, not only for us females, but definitely also for men. And it's I really believe that inflammation also causes infertility. How do you call it? Like
Fertility, yeah.
infertility. And this is not only for women, by the way. 1 in 5 men also have infertility problems right now.
Well, it's 50-50.
So exactly.
But
So
people prefer to do it like people prefer to blame women.
yes, and we can do a lot with diets.
Yeah.
If we start already today, man or female, we start with the right
Well,
nutrition.
it's what you put in your body is
Absolutely.
so you get your period. How is the process of how to find a doctor? How do you go to the doctor? Do you go to the doctor when you get your period? Do you go to the doctor when you feel something weird?
You go to the gynecologist when you feel that you do not have an irregular period, when you feel that you have all these hormonal issues. You see it on your skin, you see it in your mood. I was very crampy. I was like anxious more often. Like during, and I mean, if you're really young, you don't notice it. But when you're around 18 and you feel like, oh, but all of like all these years since I got my period, I was like 13, my first period. And until I was 18, I was like, wow, this is very irregular. I see it, in fatigue. I see it in the bloatiness.
Wow, so from 13 to 18.
Yes. And then if you go to a gynecologist and you've been diagnosed with PCOS, what I think it comes from my parents. They're very into natural approach, and they had a health business before. So I guess it comes from, in a way, my culture as well, that no, I do not have to go straight for medicine. Let's see first what I can do personally. And I went straight to doing own research. I love to learn. For me, like life is all about learning. We never, how much we learn, how more you know that you don't actually know anything, right? Came across the book from Dr. Mercola, which is Fat for Fuel, which is the importance of fat. Fat is
Either
crucial.
good
Yes, good fat.
have a
Fat is
sound
fat from meat, animal based. Yes, you can have it from avocado, from the butter, all these kind of things. And it was amazing to see that you can do a lot with food and with the right type of food.
like to get that diagnosis, a specific test is like because something that I've noticed is when you go to the gynecologist, nobody asks you, do you want to take your egg count? Do you want to know your fertility? Do you want to know your lining of your uterus?
Yes, that's
And
true.
what is this part of like a gynecologist checkup? They say, oh, your period is regular or irregular, or you go and present.
Yes, and I don't know if this is common in any in all countries, but for me it was like I needed to say like, okay, I think I have this. Could you check it? So it's not something that comes from the gynecologist. Like it's something that you need
Wow.
to be like, please check me for either PCOS, and he saw it immediately.
And these are basically invisible diseases. Like
Yes,
can be blamed or guilt trip into, oh, you're being dramatic, you're being hormonal, you're being
right.
emotional, or like that. All these things, like it's just the level of how do we remove the shame and the stigma and the guilt and just accept hormones and a period and all of that has an impact on your body, and you don't have to wait 3, 4, 5 years to be believed.
Yes. No, it's true. Yeah. So it is, and luckily nowadays we have so much knowledge due to the media. We literally we can Google anything right now. So what I would just encourage anyone listening is the moment you feel, and sometimes we just really feel it, like it's our gut saying something, right? Like, oh, I feel different. This is not how I have to feel. And I felt it always when I was consuming too much. And I come from a background with maybe eating too much carbs. And I've always felt like, and I was telling this to my parents as well, like every time I'm eating much bread or potatoes, I feel that I'm way more bloated. And I also felt it with eating too much vegetables, that I felt very bloated. So I was listening to my body, but this is something obviously we can just be following what others are saying. But if you really go intuitive and you feel like, no, there's something missing, there's something not correct now, go to,
Believe that.
yes, because most of the times it's true, there's something happening. And I would not just be like, put it back under the rock and just like, no, it's fine, and you will be fine. It just takes some hormones. No, figure it out first yourself.
That's
And
amazing.
yeah.
And how does that link to your the moment of becoming a mom?
Like the moment that I started to like focus more on my diet, I came across to a more keto approach, and eventually I actually became to eat more, I would say, animal based, which I do today. And since I met my boyfriend a few years ago, we had both of us, we had this dream of having our own kids one day. But I've mentioned straight up to him, look, but I was diagnosed when I was 80 with PCOS, so maybe let's go already to explore other ways to get pregnant. So we went to a fertility clinic in Belgium. And the doctor told me, well, if we will be checking you today, you do not have PCOS anymore. So in a way, it was reversible. In a way, decreased all the PCOS symptoms by the diet I was doing. So it brings me to, I just want to mention that it was for me a big effect, the diet, but also, of course, stress factors and also my type of movement. I changed my exercises. I actually focused more on better sleep, and then the type of food I was consuming helped me to reverse a little bit the PCOS symptoms, decrease them. And this was in 2022 in December that we had the appointment. We went to travel in January to the States. I was just like 1 month, there we were in Miami having fun, enjoying the summer, or enjoying our holiday, and I got pregnant.
That is my dream, to have every woman to say the moment they wanted to discuss having a family, you say, let's go to a fertility route,
And
alternative
check
check.
both. But what I liked about it, when you go to a fertility clinic, it's you check both. It's men and female, because both, as you've mentioned earlier, are responsible.
Yeah, you need both 50-50.
Exactly, yes. And this is what I liked. It was not only like, oh, okay, I'm sorry you have PCOS, let's only check you. No, it was also checking his sperm.
How is that dynamic as a couple?
I think it's fantastic just to really be, because it's like putting the responsibility in two, and not just like, oh, it's the female's job to be healthy and to eat healthy, and then the baby will come. I don't think that is
Yeah.
even. And the same goes for if you go any type of IVF route. It's also very important that both people are having, actually, making sure that they're on the right diet, the right
Yeah.
mindset as well. Is super crucial.
There's no point for you going through all of this if the other side of the person that is going to create this baby is under stress, not eating healthy, not giving the right nutrients,
Yes.
not giving the right hormone. Like that is all going to go to the epigenetics of
Yes.
the baby creation. And so when the doctor said that with your diet everything was reversed, is it something that it can come back? Is it something that post pregnancy, or did it affect the pregnancy?
Yes. And it was very interesting because due to the fact that I have PCOS, or at least this, I'm very sensitive to insulin. So I've noticed when during my pregnancy, I had a very easy pregnancy, very focusing, was eating a lot of healthy fats, a lot of protein. It was basically what my body was craving. So I was just consuming that a lot. But then after I gave birth, I've noticed that I was focusing more on our son, Senna. So what I did, I kind of like forgot sometimes to eat, and you just be like, okay, I'm just gonna drink a coffee instead, and food will come later. And then I've noticed, well, that I actually was dealing more with some more hormonal issues, or having again like irregular periods when my son is now 1 year old. That I was like, no, it's so crucial to focus again on my own health and put my health first. And you have to put yourself first, and then comes the rest. Because if I am not eating properly, am I able to be a good example to my son,
And
or even taking care of him?
yeah, or even
Uh,
taking care of him, or
yes,
be a healthy mom and be a healthy wife.
absolutely.
And the idea of a lot of people glorifying putting the kid first and sacrificing themselves, their sleeps or their food or their habits, or I can feel guilty. Like I remember, because my brother has kids and my dad had kids from the second marriage. I remember, like, you want to wait for the kids not to finish the food, and then you just grab whatever they were eating. or like you blame the snack, like if the snacks are in the house and then
Yes.
you're not very conscious about it and the sugar and all of that, then you can just fall into that, and then you just don't take care of your body. And then if you're prone to be sensitive of insulin, everything is super processed lately, so you have to be. And like if you want to be like a good mom, I mean, you want to stick around for a long time, you need to put yourself first.
Yes. And this brings me actually to what you've mentioning earlier about discipline. If there is no goal, the discipline is likely to fade away. So if we make sure that we have a good goal, because if there's no goal, we will never know if we're there.
Yeah, we go to wherever the flow
Yes.
wins.
And if we have a goal, so in my goal in life is to be a good mom and to be a good example, to be a powerful mom, to be a powerful wife, and to be a good example for my son, for hopefully more kids that I will raise, for showing that I'm able to take good care of myself, that they will naturally also get this. And this is my big objective in life. So I wake up every morning knowing like, hey, I want to be there. So makes me to work out. It makes me to eat healthy because I want to be that, good example for them. So this comes the discipline. If we do not have a goal where we're going for, like, what is the reason for you to wake up in the morning? If we keep that in mind, we wake up and we're like, okay, what keeps us going every day? This makes us disciplined, because if we're not doing anything about it, then we're not getting better than yesterday.
I mean, because I have to say, you were saying that you were trying to become the best mom. You are the best. Like you're the best mom. You're
Thank
amazing.
you. I'm doing my best. And it's also nice that it's like, this is it's a journey, like what I'm trying to, because probably a lot of people listening to this, as a mom, even as a dad, you feel that you're constantly behind. You feel like you're constantly struggling. Like you feel that nothing is actually going well. But it's something like, this is so natural. I feel as a parent, that you are worried that you're doing something wrong, or that you're worried that, but at the end, it's like you're doing everything with good intentions. If you are a good example, if you're making sure that you're doing, the best as you can.
Don't be so hard on yourself. Because if you ask me, the right or wrong is your only goal is to keep your baby alive.
Yes.
Your only goal in life is to train this kid to learn how to live without you.
Yes.
Give me one example that you would say, where do you feel like, oh my God, I feel like I'm being behind in this, or I feel like I could be better in this, that you could say that you're being demanding on yourself, and not necessarily in a bad way. And it's good to have high goals. I prefer to have high goals and never achieve them than mediocre goals, so I don't feel bad and fail.
Yes.
And the other question is, what is that thing that you were like, I was not expecting. Nobody told me this. Nobody mentioned this anywhere. What would you wanted to hear?
So it's funny because now as a certified life coach, I'm coaching also other moms. What I've realized is that we put a lot of pressure on ourselves to be constantly there, being proactive, being an educational mom, making sure your kid is actually learning every day from you, making sure that, my son is already 15 months, he's not walking yet, this type of pressure. And like, we're also living in a time where we compare a lot, right? Like, oh yeah, but they're on social media, this kid is already walking, so I guess that comes to where the pressure is coming from. And this is something that you just need to compare with just being there for your kids, and comparing is just something that will not take you anywhere. So you just see it as inspiration, maybe for social media. You see like, oh, this is nice what other kids are doing, and what other parents are doing. So for me, it is something that I've really tried to kind of like making sure that I am just fully present with my son, and his progress is his progress. And it's not because, oh, on the internet, I see that kids already with 16, for example, my son is 15 months, and Some kids can already speak or have some words. My son is more about action, like walking and stuff, rather than
Kid is like a Ferrari. He's like,
super active. But that is like, I guess that is like the main thing that parents will do, comparing like, oh, but then they can already do this at this age and he's not doing this yet. So that is something that we just need to be just present and appreciate what.
I was talking to a therapist about it, and if you say to your kid or like, oh, you're doing great progress, you stimulate your kid to do better and do more. And if you tell your kid like, oh, you're so smart, then you make him afraid of failing or
Yes.
not smart. And yeah, the comparison is a big killer. I feel like everybody is absolutely perfect. If the minute
Right.
you compare,
Yes.
perfection is over. So it's just, it is true. A lot of people wanted to like look for social media to have like everything, and also to be sort of like a fixer kind of.
Yes. And I think definitely social media makes us to want to check everything and seeing like how are others doing it. But I think that's the beauty of being a parent. Just go to what you feel is right. So if we focus less on consuming and more on creating, just creating that own culture within your own family and do what feels right for you. At the end, in the beginning, when I just became a mom, I was like, what is the main goal in raising your child? You want to make your child happy. But now I switched it a bit to I want to make sure my child eventually can fully feel my love towards my kids, but also to feel that they are fully independent and they can create independency and they can be their own authentic self in any way he or she wants to do that. And knowing that I respect and love this person anyway.
That's so amazing and so beautiful. I feel like, don't you sometimes feel like, oh, but you're just my baby and I want you to be the way I want you
Of
and
course, yes.
but yeah, I there's a part of in parenting that when you have your kid, there's two ways unconsciously with good intentions traumatize your kid. And one is
Yes.
you have to succeed to earn my love, or you have to fail to earn my love because you cannot be better than me, or the only way that you can raise your child without creating trauma is I love you. Do you fail? I love you. Did you succeed? I love you. Do you want to do another thing? You tried, you won, you didn't like it, you want to switch? I love you. And yeah, go for it. I'm so fully supportive.
I think so too. I come from a childhood where I was very focused on success. Success is when, when you're doing good at school and there's a lot of pressure, and education wise, like I always needed to thrive, thrive, thrive. And it creates a lot of like it's never enough. It's never good enough. And I've noticed that I'm doing that also on myself. And any moment in our life we can block and we can create new cultures
Mm.
and new systems. So what I'm trying to tell myself constantly is like, I will not continue with the path that I was raised. I can change it, and I want to raise my kids in a way like they know. And it's exactly what you said earlier. It's not about, oh, you are so smart, I see that you did a lot of amazing work here, like, I see that you did a very good job. That's amazing. Instead of, oh, but you're so smart, because there's already this,
As this
this
goal to hit.
exactly. Instead of just saying like, wow, I see you've put a lot of work into this. This is really cool.
Yeah.
So it's beautiful that how we've been raised, that if you just look at this and seeing it again as traumas can be something that you learn from,
Yeah.
and seeing that as, wow, thank you God that I've experienced that. So I've learned from this and I will do that maybe slightly differently with my own children, and probably my kids will also have issues with me and saying like, no, I'm gonna actually do things differently.
I think for raising kids, you want to have that little bit of discomfort for them to want to reach their own. Like, if you make it too comfortable, they will never leave the house. Sort of what I think. And
Yes.
you want to make it like, this is my roof, this is my rules. If you want your things, But it's funny that you expressed that because for me it was the complete opposite. I was raised through failure. Like it doesn't matter how good you get at anything. It was like, what do you want me to do? Congratulate you? That's what you're supposed to do.
Yeah.
So they will only focus. They will cannot wait for you to fail, to highlight it, to point it out, to
Wow. Yeah.
and also so it's like it was a way for my family to feel better, like or superior or authoritarians. It was through failure, and almost like if they succeed they will leave us.
So that's interesting, this awareness. Do you feel that you're now doing that differently with your raising your own kids now, you and Richard?
Yes and not, because we are wise, because wisdom is chasing us, but I run really faster than wisdom. Is because we go through we go to therapy together. Once
And I love that you guys are doing therapy together. It's
I
amazing.
said to him, there's things that I need in a partner: multiple languages and emotional intelligence. And this is working, and I love you. And if we go to therapy, I will not digress, or I don't want to lash out. I don't want to have a trauma from my past show up in you or in your kids or in the other father of the kids, because this is a modern dynamic.
Yes.
It's IVF and surrogacy, two men, American, England, then a third person, the twins, boy, girl. It's just me navigating all of this. I was just like, I know I'm already coming clean that I'm gonna screw it up. So let's go to therapy, because I love this, and I would be devastated if I make a mistake and I damage it, like my most treasured
Yes,
relationship
and it's
ever.
beautiful you say this because you go to therapy not because there's something needs to be fixed.
Oh, my therapist was like, yeah, these people
This is because of
get it.
love.
These people are gonna come here like every couple and get amicably separated.
Yeah, yeah.
And then she was like, oh, wait a second, you guys still here and you guys still love each other. Like
Yes.
almost like, let me call my therapist.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Like I've never seen this before.
No, it was really because of a nice, beautiful intention. Then in kind of like you want to maintain this love and this, this creation of building together. And it's something not to be, it was nothing was broken. This is
No,
you
no,
want to
no.
keep on going and
Yeah.
because how good it already is
And
and grow
also
together.
because he is allowed to hurt me. Like there is moments, the beauty of a relationship and vulnerability is with kids, with husbands, with wives, with the partners. You are allowed to make mistakes, and we are allowed to have at the same time completely different needs and boundaries. That I don't have to like your boundaries,
Mm-hmm.
but I need to say, you're your own person, you're complete, I'm complete. When we're together, we're better.
Yes.
And I don't want to be like, I need you to exist, or you need me to exist, or if be afraid of my own projection of my own fears, of my assumptions.
Yes.
So what I decided to do is therapy gives us the tool to go in every argument, every last minute, every immediate needs that do not align, to approach it with curiosity rather than judgment and assumption.
Mm-hmm.
Because if I don't know any better, I will use the information that I've already used to make a conclusion.
Yeah.
Because the brain doesn't know how to sit with uncomfortable uncertainty. The brain will not rest until you make a conclusion that will satisfy the brain to say, like, oh, okay, I solved the problem.
Yeah.
So that that is what my first thing in relationships is, what are we going to do, this you against me or us against the problem?
Good.
And when we go together against, it's like you've never seen a soccer match and having Ronaldo running the other way and scoring to the like against his team.
I get what you mean. Yes. So would you also recommend any like if a couple is on a fertility journey, would you then also recommend therapy?
I mean, absolutely, because if every couple could go to the concept of father to parenting the way you did, if every couple could go and say, I want to have kids, but we have to go, let's check each other how we're doing, because you were diagnosed with something, but my goal with this is for everybody to say, let's go to therapy, because if we're going to have a kid, we need to understand if we have the body's in great conditions and what can we adjust to do the changes and what's going to happen afterwards. Like
Yeah.
what's going to happen with what is our lifestyle going to be?
Yes.
Like, are we going to be traveling a lot? Do we not? What if I have a miscarriage, which is very normal? What if what test the possibilities? What if I want to have embryos frozen and then I want to I want to be pregnant 3 times, but I want to have a girl at some point. So yes, so what therapy does is not to use IVF and surrogacy as a last resource of desperation. And when a woman feels broken, and then you also have to, making love is beautiful. Making love on the clock,
Yeah.
not so much. And then when you cannot keep a baby, there's no way that you get in the back of your head, it's your role as a human to procreate. And if you're not doing it, I'm not successful.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter what you have built in your life. That's the beauty of therapy. Therapy will tell you, if we don't succeed naturally in 6 months, we go to different routes.
Yeah.
And we don't stress about it. We don't put pressure into each other. We don't
Exactly.
put pressure in ourselves
Yes.
that ruptures the relationship, because then you think that the kid is going to save the marriage.
Yeah.
And then the kid is not going to sleep.
Yeah.
Then you're not going to sleep.
Yeah, it's a lot to handle, and if you can speak the unspeakable and already discuss the things that are, you know, in our minds, and then we're just sharing that already during therapy, whatever, I think it's super helpful for couples going through this process to work with a therapist or a coach or someone that could.
And this is sort of like the love letter to you, because it was a short period of time, but it was in a crucial part of the business, and there were big decisions to make that you don't know. There's no success in both decisions to make. You just have to make one decision. One is going to create this mess, and one is going to create this mess and this success. And you just have to, the best decision you can ever make is yours. The
Yes.
second best is somebody else's, and the worst decision you can make is none.
Yes, true. I like that. Really, the best decision for yourself is constantly investing in yourself through knowledge, through making sure there's enough health, rest. We need to put ourselves first.
Yeah. And then when you asked me the right questions, and when you made me answer the things that I wanted to avoid, and then you just kept bringing me back to it. I don't know what it is. Once you verbalize it, you're like, huh? It's not that
Yes.
difficult. Why was I
Yes.
making a big deal about it? I love the knowledge that you're giving me, because there's so many things that we don't know about women or when to check it. And would you give an advice of somebody that is under period, like what tool to use or guidance on?
Yes, I mean, if you're in this journey, you're in your own fertility journey or with your partner, this is something very interesting to look first at. Okay, what am I doing currently? So creating this awareness, what am I doing on a day-to-day basis? Am I consuming too much? This could be, consuming too much social media, negative things. What am I food-wise eating? So first look at, where am I today? If this is your journey, like, okay, I want to eventually have a baby. First start with that. Have your awareness. What am I doing today? And are there already minor changes that I can make now that already impact my overall health? So if you go from there, and then of course speak always with a specialist, either that's true from first a coach or a therapist and then go to a fertility doctor. But it's super important just to make sure, like, okay, having this awareness, where am I currently at? Where do I want to be? A coach can help you with this, but knowing exactly where you are and where you want to be is super crucial. And then with PCOS, it's a very it's not a one size fits all. There's different types of PCOS. There's different types of what we can do with it. Like some people really thrive on protein, some really thrive on healthy fats. So it's all very individualistic on each person. So I like that approach as well, that it's very tailored to see for your needs what is needed. And this goes through anything in life, making sure that what is best for you. So instead of just going on the internet and just think, okay, yeah, this is what I have, and I'm just going to do exactly what this person is doing. No, bring it to you, bring it to, okay, what do I need? And then speak with the specialist and, discuss your specific needs. Now, currently, I'm really helping a lot of women with their PCOS journey, with their hormonal issues. It's so interesting that it also is connected to stress. So we talk about more things. We're talking about life, so that's why the 360. So Louisa has 360.com.
Amazing. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.